Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Cup of Joe Wrestling Show?
With Joey Harris. A podcast for the wrestling fan on the go. So take your favorite beverage of choice and join Joey as he takes a look at some of the biggest shows on the WWE Network.
From makeshift studios deep in the heart of stately Maine Manor, this is the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. I am your host, Joey Harris. Folks, it's been quite a week, hasn't it? The WWE Network is moving to the Peacock streaming service in a 5-year, $1 billion deal between the WWE and NBC Universal. And so what does that mean? And what does that mean for this show? Well, it turns out very little. It will take place starting in March, at the end of March, and that the Fastlane pay-per-view or Fastlane network event, I guess, not really a pay-per-view anymore, will be the first event shown on the WWE Network on Peacock. And so it's still going to be the WWE Network. It will just be on the Peacock platform. It's kind of a button. I heard someone else say it's kind of like you can get the National Geographic stuff on Disney Plus. So if you've got the WWE Network in March, my understanding is that your subscription will go over to Peacock for either the ad-supported price of $4.99 or the premium price of $9.99. And if you think about it, if everything transfers over and we get the current network just on the Peacock platform, then you've got Peacock and all of the shows that they have on their network, plus the WWE Network for the same price without ads that you currently have the WWE Network. I think that's a great deal. Man, Monday I had to go and get a haircut and I was waiting. You have to wait outside, you have to check in and then call and let them know that you are there. And so I called in, they weren't ready yet. They said, give us a few minutes. I said, no problem. I had arrived a few minutes early anyway. I checked Twitter and you would have thought that the world was coming to an end. People like, oh, this is horrible. And I'm like, we haven't even seen it yet. And from everything that I've seen, nothing really is going to change. It's just going to be someplace different. But that's wrestling Twitter for you. And that's wrestling internet for you. Online wrestling, social media wrestling, that they are going to take and see the bad in anything. But let's wait and see. I'm not changing the intro to the show because it's still going to be the WWE Network. It's just going to be in a different place. And we talked about this last year. I talked about this at the end of the year show that I did just a few weeks ago. You hear all of these things and it's not going away. It's still going to be there. You're still going to be getting everything that you were getting. If something changes, we'll discuss it and reassess at that time. But I hate this naysaying attitude that goes around. But regardless of that, let's move on into some happier things. And today we are looking at the main event 3 from the WWF from February 1990. The main event 3 was shown live on NBC on February the 23rd, 1990 from the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Randy Savage says he has a powerful right hand for Hulk Hogan, and new boxing champion and special guest referee Buster Douglas better stay in line. Oh yes, in between the Saturday night's main event and the main event, a little boxing match happened in Tokyo, Japan, and all of a sudden we have a new heavyweight champion of the world in James Buster Douglas. Tyson was still scheduled to be the referee here, but his camp pulled him out, and so Buster Douglas comes in. Jack Tunney is with Buster Douglas, who's going to be the outside ref. One of his entourage says, like Tokyo, Douglas is ready, and to call it down the middle. Hulk Hogan says that with the combination of Randy Savage, Buster Douglas, and Hulk Hogan, something's going to explode. And we go to our opening credits. Vince McMahon and Jesse Ventura welcomed us to Detroit. They run down the card and talk up Buster Douglas after Mike Tyson pulls out of being the referee. Mean Gene Okerlund interviews Randy Savage and Queen Sherry. Savage is glad Douglas is the referee because he found out that Mike Tyson's grandmother is a Hulkamaniac. They say Douglas better call it down the middle. If they're upset about Mike Tyson's grandmother being a Hulkamaniac, wait till they hear Buster Douglas's comments at the end of the show. But we'll get there. Mean Gene then interviews Hulk Hogan. He says that he heard that he and Buster Douglas were a lot alike, but he better call it down the middle. Mean Gene then interviews Buster Douglas. He throws shade at Mike Tyson for backing out. He says he is going to call it down the middle. And we start right out with our WWF World Heavyweight Championship match. Hulk Hogan versus Randy Savage with Queen Sherry. Buster Douglas is the special outside referee. Savage controls the match early. Sherry accidentally knocked out by Savage. Hogan takes control. Sherry recovers and interferes frequently in the match. Sherry chokes Hogan, so Douglas throws her out. Savage working overtime, but can't get the pin. Hogan kicks out of the flying elbow. Hogan hulks up. Hogan hits the leg drop, but the referee was knocked out, so Douglas comes in and counts the pin on Savage. Savage is irate. He gets into Douglas's face. Savage taunts Douglas. He then slaps Douglas. And folks, this is taking way too long. I don't know if there were some miscues here, but this whole section took way longer than it probably should have. Hogan pushes Savage into Douglas, who punches him twice, and Savage goes down. Douglas and Hogan smile and shake hands and play up to the crowd. Jesse is irate, and Jesse is right here. Look, we're not dumb. We all know that this is predetermined and all that. But I hate having my intelligence insulted right there in front of everything. You have to play it off like it's real, and this just does not look good. The Ultimate Warrior rambles about the solar system. Back in the ring, Hogan must pose. Jesse interviews Dino Bravo, Jimmy Hart, and Earthquake. The bench press record from Royal Rumble 1988 is brought up, so if you're drinking at home, you can take a shot. Bravo says it takes brains to win the Intercontinental title. Mean Gene interviews the Ultimate Warrior. He talks about not needing insurance of any kind. It makes sense if you watch it, so just give it a watch. I'd be here all day if I had to interpret an Ultimate Warrior promo for you. WWF Intercontinental Championship match. The Ultimate Warrior versus Dino Bravo with Jimmy Hart and Earthquake. Warrior batters Bravo from the start. Earthquake interferes and Bravo takes over. Warrior regains control. Warrior goes under the ring. Hart is pulled under the ring as well. He comes out pantsless, and Warrior throws him on Earthquake. Back and forth. Warrior kicks out of Bravo's side suplex. Warrior then wins after a shoulder tackle and splash. Earthquake attacks after the bell. He and Bravo batter Warrior. Warrior fights back. Hogan comes to the rescue. The heels then retreat. Hogan and Warrior argue. They push officials away, who try to break it up. Vince McMahon narrates the flashback of the history between Hogan and Warrior. Vince McMahon then interviews Hulk Hogan. He talks about feeling the powerful force of the Ultimate Warrior. He said he was not trying to steal the spotlight from Warrior. Mean Gene then interviews the Ultimate Warrior. He says that this has all been foretold. He stands by himself. He questions if Hulk Hogan has what it takes to take him on. Jesse says Hogan is jealous of Warrior. Mean Gene talks to Buster Douglas. He says he and Hulk Hogan are going out to drink. Drink milk, that is. Hogan is a Buttermilk Man, while Buster Douglas likes whole milk. Vince and Jesse talk about WrestleMania and the next Saturday night's main event before signing off from Detroit. Hey folks, if you like the show, please leave a review in iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or your podcast platform of choice. It helps people to find the show. There are a number of ways that you can contact me. You can follow the show's Twitter at CupOfJoePod. You can email the show at cupofjoewrestlingshow@gmail.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I am at The Joey Harris. Thank you for joining me this week. This is Joey Harris saying so long from Stately Main Manor.
The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show is a production of Baby Kangaroo Media.